Carousel. When we had that graphic made, we said it was very important that we have a big, large stack of money, and that is exactly what Penn State has pulled together. Upwards of $45-50 million to buy out James Franklin. No rumors, no long drawn out. This was a swift news university release, axe down. We are moving ahead as a college football program after a lengthy run, 104 wins from James Franklin, a Big Ten championship, a college football playoff appearances, handful of top 10 finishes. He is out. Penn State is moving on. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, either live or checked us out on demand for the instant reaction show. Now we've got the full group together. And yeah, we will continue the coaching carousel conversation in terms of the next steps. But Danny Kanell, your instant reaction, your thoughts here on James Franklin out at Penn State.
Wow. Like the fall from just 15 days ago being on verge. I mean, it was not, I mean, how does this happen this fast? You know, it's unbelievable how you could be a program that looked like they were sitting on top of the college football world, a preseason favorite to be the, national championship pick, who I picked to be, I was one of those who bought in to all the pieces they're bringing back, like veterans, quarterback. You go out and you get all this and you're in overtime. Like, it's not like you got embarrassed against Oregon, but you're like, oh, here we go again. And you lose that game. And then to see these back-to-back losses, it's just astounding to see how fast it could happen. Like, I wonder where James Franklin is right now. I'd imagine he's probably getting his family, getting to a beach somewhere and just be like, let's just escape from all the hysteria. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw this Matt Fortuna tweet. Unbelievable to see how fast it can happen. I do wonder how in the college football economy, like, where does all this money just come from so easily? Because I think we make a lot of assumptions. Well, that's a lot of money. There's no way we're going to be able to come up with that. And then magically, it just appears out of nowhere, and you can make this type of change. It's remarkable. It just reminds you nothing should surprise us. There is no job that's secure. It is crazy.
Money isn't real, Danny. It's all just something we agree to pretend exists.
Deep thoughts on a Monday. Let's go.
If it's in the 40s and there's an offset in Franklin's deal, apparently Franklin is a good enough coach to where he can get another real job if he wants to. He might just decide to chill on the beach for a little bit or do some TV. I don't know. And you can pay it off over a couple of years. I really don't think it's quite as huge as a number as it sounds. Like Mark Stoops' number at Kentucky.
I was going to say, Stoops is the one where the number's big, but you go into the language of the contract. Some of these contracts are due in full in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. You got to have tens of millions ready to go. But if it's just a line item of just paying out just like another assistant over the course of the next 15 years or so, it's a little bit of a different math. I am not privy to the contract details of this buyout in particular.
I heard on the Insiders or on HQ that Talty said there is some offset, I believe. I think it was Talty. So that certainly helps the number a little bit, right? If you're offsetting that by maybe 20 over the next 5 years or something like that, maybe I don't know what percentage is subject to the offset, but if you're Penn State, you can afford this.
No, do you endorse the move from Penn State?
Look. Penn State should be in the best position to make Penn State decisions. It doesn't mean that you have to just stamp every decision that a program makes. A lot of them make bad decisions, but if they feel like, hey, Franklin misevaluated this roster as to what he had, he was openly saying this was the best roster we've ever had. It's the best coaching staff that we've ever had, and you don't beat Oregon, which in hindsight looks worse now that they've lost at home by double digits to Indiana, and then you proceed to lose to UCLA and Northwestern, who are arguably the two worst teams in the Big Ten. Maybe not solidly there, but you're like, hey, man, it used to be that you won the games you're supposed to win, and you never leveled us up, to that top level, and we are committed to playing at that very top level. So, you see what USC is doing right now. They have the number one recruiting class in the country. Looks like they have some momentum. They're spending. Maybe Riley's getting some things turned around there. I think he did a hell of a job there, right? And some of the names being thrown out, I'm like, I don't think that's an upgrade over James Franklin. But sometimes like a fresh start, and sometimes your time has just run its course. So perhaps, right? I don't. It's a risky move. They're hoping he's Mark Richt and not Bo Pelini.
I like that line. Hey, can I pitch something at y'all? I think James Franklin will be my favorite hire of the 2025-2026 coaching cycle, and that includes whoever Penn State hires.
Ooh.
So
that he will get another job, and I will be more enthusiastic about James Franklin at whatever job that is than I will be about who Penn State hires. I don't know. It's just a think. It's just a gut feel here.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys discussed Matt Rule an awful lot, and I obviously had him on my list because of the connections. He's very buddy with the AD Pat Kraft there.
He's at Temple with him.
Worked for him, yeah.
We always do the Temple thing as like a big foundational part of the Matt Rule story. So yeah, Pat Kraft was there.
Like, I don't know that solves a lot of your complaints. What were your complaints about Franklin? Doesn't find a way to score points. Matt Rule is definitely not a guy whose teams score points. Not traditionally, not historically. He finally got rid of his buddy at OC and brought in a guy who has a history of scoring points. They are scoring some more points this year, so maybe that's a step in the right direction. I don't think he's a better recruiter than James is, right? I don't think he's got a better history of hiring assistants than James does. So this better not be, hey, the AD wants to hire his buddy for a decision of this kind of money. But the thing is, his buddy has a good track record. Like Rule could work out there great.
Sure.
We don't know if it will or if it won't. But I mean, they're like two very close games away from having 3 losses right now. Cincinnati game, if Cincinnati's quarterback doesn't throw that YOLO ball there at the end, since he was moving it on him consistently, and they almost lost to Maryland. So, but they didn't. They won the games.
You know who else worked at Temple though for the years when Pat Kraft was the AD? He was on Matt Rule's staff.
Manny Diaz
he was on Matt Rule's staff. Fran Brown.
Ooh.
One Tyler Donahue of Lions 247 brought up, which I think would be really interesting. A guy who does have a good track record of making hires, a guy who I think can recruit. You have to look at his tenure at Miami quite differently when you see the massive resource difference that Miami gave to Mario, which granted Mario brought with him because some of these mega boosters are Mario's buddies, and I don't think Manny was going to get that there from Miami. But he's done a really nice job at Duke. He's a defensive guy who likes to score points and allows an offensive coordinator to actually operate. I wouldn't hate that. He also coached at Penn State.
Yeah.
And I thought your Matt Campbell one was really good. I didn't have Matt Campbell on my list because he's not a guy I think of as like an offensive dude who wants to score points. Like, hasn't shown that he's a top flight recruiter. But that would make a lot of sense. He's a very competent guy. I think Matt Rule's competent. I just don't know if any of these guys are no doubt like big upgrades over what Franklin does.
I talked about it on the show yesterday, but like with Manny Diaz, a lot of the in-game coaching decisions, I think that he gets away with them because he's at Duke and nobody's watching. Like if you ask Miami fans, just some of the decisions he would make during the game were kind of confounding. And then I feel like if he was at Penn State, he was in the spotlight more. I just feel like that would get him in trouble pretty quick.
I think the sport's shifting to what he does though, in terms of finding your optimal amount of aggressiveness. But yeah, I mean, back then it was really controversial and certainly like bigger program, you're going to get blasted when some of that stuff doesn't work out.
Manny Diaz is a sensible.
It's very Dan Lanning-ish, though.
Manny Diaz is a more sensible hire for me looking at Penn State if they didn't just pay $50 million to buy out James Franklin.
Yeah.
If you pay $50 million to buy out James Franklin and hire Manny Diaz, and it's like, okay, all right, Manny. You want to talk about being set up with an intense amount of pressure. I mean, I think Manny Diaz is very capable. I think he has been on quite the walkabout. I mean, you go all the way back to his early time as an assistant. I mean, Manny Diaz has been around and been in a lot of places. He's got some scars. He has seen some wars. And I think that, he might be interested in that, or he might be interested in continuing to build at Duke, where I think particularly in this season, he's done a good job of steadying that team after those 2 losses to Illinois and Tulane in the non-conference portion.
Do you think Penn State gets their first choice?
No.
Yeah.
Well, who do we think their first choice is?
Well, that's what I don't.
Well, the fan base's first choice, I think, right now, like of realistic options, is Cignetti. But I went over yesterday why I don't think that's likely. And also, I will point out, you know where Pat Kraft got his degree from?
Indiana.
Yeah. Is he going to want to go to his alma mater and steal their football coach from him? I don't know.
Yeah.
But just
I
don't
now.
I just don't think that, like, if you're Cignetti, Penn State's a better situation than the one you currently have.
We also have no idea, and we're going to talk about this also in an hour on the recruiting hour with Andrew Ivins, but we have no idea if Cignetti can recruit high school. Doesn't mean he can't. We just don't know it because Indiana is almost entirely transfers, and he's done an amazing job with the portal, but, like, we don't know. Now, he's worked for Saban. He's worked for some operations that do recruit well, so that if you want to believe that he can do it, I'm not going to doubt the guy that he can, but there's not evidence that he actually can do it.
So Curt Cignetti has 2 ranked wins in the 2025 college football season. Can anyone tell me when Matt Rule's last ranked win was?
Oh, it was a long
probably
time
at Temple.
Ago. It was at Temple.
It was in 2016 against number 19 Navy.
Oh, I was joking. Really? He hasn't beat a single ranked
Temple.
team at Nebraska?
He beat 0 ranked teams at Baylor. He beat 0 ranked teams. I believe it is 17 consecutive losses to top 25 opponents. That's not top 10. That is not an issue against top 10 opponents. Ooh. That is an issue against top 25 opponents. Correct me, please.
I think if he was coaching Penn State, he would have an easier time beating ranked opponents.
Agree.
Than he would at Nebraska and Baylor.
That's fine. Again, last ranked win, 2016, December 3rd against number 19 Navy.
Wow.
So, you trade.
I'll remember that 2016 Navy team. It was a juggernaut.
Hey.
And he knocked it down.
That was I think that's a conference championship game, right? Yeah. American Athletic Conference Championship game, December 3rd.
Was Navy in the American back in 2016?
Yeah.
Have they been in there that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Keenan Reynolds.
You're right.
Getting it done. All right. So if they're not going to get their first choice, where does the search? What are the other names that stick out? Tom and I played this game a little bit yesterday, but just because it is an amazing college football job, steeped in history, steeped in passion. The other side of, oh my gosh, they'll pull together 45, 50 million to get you out says like they care a lot. So you should have resources and some more flowers for the recently fired coach. That program is in a way better position because of the work that James Franklin did while he was in Happy Valley. He left that program better than he found it. And so it is a better job now than when he took it as a head coach more than a decade ago.
You are going to have to portal like a lot of an offense to Happy Valley. They lose a bunch of this offense. Defensively, I think they're probably okay. Do you look at somebody who brings their quarterback with them? Like, I don't think they're going to hire. Like, just look at some of these names in the chat. I don't think Schiano is a serious candidate for Penn State.
I don't think anybody who was mentioned in the whole Sandusky stuff has a chance.
Also, he typically doesn't score points. That's the most consistent knock on James Franklin, other than the big game James stuff. Doesn't score points. Offense doesn't come through. No. And I don't think you go get Dan Mullen after how he managed. I think Dan Mullen's a great underdog program coach. I don't think the way he managed the operation at Florida would give you warm fuzzies if you are Penn State.
I think Dan Mullen will do better at a Power 4 job than he did at Florida because of the new rev share and stuff like that. But I don't think it's the right hire for Penn State.
Anybody else?
Rule and Raiola package deal?
Oh.
I mean, that's Tom's favorite QB.
It's an upgrade over Aller.
Yeah. He probably could get it to happen.
All right. Here's what we need. We need Photoshops of Dylan Raiola doing this one right here with the Penn State blue and the white helmet. He's got 1 year of eligibility left,
Yeah.
Man, you want to talk about winning the press conference and just putting some real hype into it. I mean, one of the best podcast hosts among all college football coaches, bringing his podcast and his quarterback.
Matt Rule is really good at the media stuff. for
Yeah.
sure.
He's great at it.
If you're Penn State and you're like, wait, he hasn't beat a single ranked team at Nebraska, it doesn't give you like a lot of confidence that he's going to be better than James.
Are there any chance they'll go for like a Golesh or somebody at the group of 5 who's crushing it?
Maybe. I don't know if that. I mean, Golesh has experience in the Big Ten. He was on Illinois staff for a while. I think if you want to bring in an offense that's going to score a ton of points, Golesh is a great hire. I think if you want to compete for national titles, I don't know if that offense is the one you want to bring in. Because to this point, that offense hasn't really proven to be that.
Yeah. And yeah, Dylan Raiola has 2 years of eligibility left. I was working the clock the other way in terms of
He thinks he's going
how many
to
more
NFL.
how many more he has to spend in college before he's NFL eligible.
A name
If you're Matt
mentioned
Campbell. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say Eli Drinkwitz is a name that I think has to be on their list.
That's the one I brought up on HQ.
Yeah, I think you're doing a disservice to yourself if you don't at least check to see how interested he would be in this gig.
I mean, you think about it, he recruits really well. He's been very progressive in terms of like embracing some of the NIL stuff. He also, I think, has done a tremendous job of he's had to replace coordinators as bigger programs hire them away. And one of the hallmarks of good coaches is that they do hire better, like they continue to hire good coordinators and figure it out. You know,
he could bring his quarterback with him too.
Bring his quarterback with him too.
Yeah.
And in the world of, and look, we are given a lot of flowers and spotlight to Penn State as a job, but you are still also playing that role in the Ohio State Michigan power dynamic. Drink is an MFer. And I say that endearingly, like if you need somebody to poke the bear and sort of rile things up, if you want someone who's going to be able to, get a little chesty against the old guard, Drink is an MFer who I think could at least occupy that space of where Penn State sits, just kind of vibes wise in the Big Ten.
We had a lot of people pushing back saying it's a better situation in Missouri. That's crazy talk, right?
It's not crazy talk, but
it's not crazy talk, but it's not my opinion. My opinion is that Penn State's a better job, but I don't think it's insane to favor Missouri.
There is a bit of like how much of Missouri's success under Drink is sustainable because they had first mover advantage in some of the NIL stuff. They were early to adopt it. They were early to embrace the NIL. They were early to embrace the portal. Now that other teams are catching it up a little bit more, like that's interesting.
Missouri was one of the first ones to get the state legislature involved.
Mm-hmm.
They were the first ones to pass laws that said you can get NIL money in high school if you're committed to an in-state university. I mean, that's just when they talk about first mover advantage. They saw the light. They're like, here's how we get this going.
So, I do think Matt Campbell would leave Iowa State.
Yes.
Yes.
Like Florida State thought he was coming before they hired Norvell. Like when they set that little press conference up, it wasn't for James Franklin. They thought Matt Campbell was coming that day. But do you think he's going to wait it out another year for Michigan? Because like in the industry, the people I talk to are like, hey, like Michigan is the one that has his heart.
I mean, maybe, but
would you turn down Penn State to wait on Michigan?
That's what I'm saying. That's a risk.
I don't know if that's ballsy.
Yeah, because like if you do that, like is Rocco Beck back next year or is he done? Like you might be 7-6 next year. You might not be very attractive. We've seen that kind of downturn. So
what are you going to finish this year? 6-6?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you're Matt Campbell and you're only considering leaving Iowa State for one of these big time jobs, it'd be hard to pass up on the big time job coming right now.
Yeah. I mean, you never know what the cycles are going to be like. And Matt Campbell probably needs to test himself at any place that's got that kind of resources and those kinds of recruiting expectations. So yeah, I think that I would not pass on Penn State to wait on Michigan. All right. This is obviously going to be an ongoing story. Any other threads that you want to pull on here? Oregon State, UAB decided that they wanted to get in on the James Franklin sweepstakes. Oh, here's the thought. Danny, do you think that this leads other schools to take action? That was another point we talked about yesterday. James Franklin's on the market. if you're Florida, if you're Auburn, if you are, one of these schools that we think will be open eventually, do you think that this speeds up the decision-making process?
I never thought we'd be sitting here October 13th with 7 coaching hires available. So I'm not going to say that this doesn't spur some more action sooner rather than later. Like, it does seem to be the trend that people are like, yeah, I'm going to get to the front of the line. So yeah, I do think it could lead to some more decisions being made here sooner.
Who is front of the line over Penn State?
Right now, of the likely possible openings, I would say Florida's the biggest candidate to be ahead of the line.
Yeah, I would say Florida. All right, so like the 3 in the SEC that I think everybody would be monitoring, right? Auburn, LSU, Oklahoma.
And LSU's the funny one because they're still
Wow.
a 5-1 football team.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't think all of those are going to open. But
Florida and Auburn seem far more likely based on the result. Like, even with Florida getting the win against Texas, you kind of see what's happening right here.
Yeah.
What about Oklahoma? Is Oklahoma all good?
I mean, I don't think they're going to fire Brent Venables, and I think they're going to get Mateer back for another year.
Okay. The start was good.
Back half of that season could be pretty rough, though. It's like that 5-0 start might be a distant memory in about a month.
So if they finish 8-4 or 7-5, Oklahoma, the work was done essentially when you won the swing games against Michigan and Auburn. If Brent Venables is returns, then that tells me that he did enough work with the overall product, the way that it looked, and the way that they won in the first 5 weeks of the season, 6 weeks of the season to secure 2026.
Doesn't OU also have an AD opening right now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think that opens, but
yeah,
I could be wrong.
Yep.
And I don't hate Arkansas, but like where I had them on this list pretty low. If you're just listening at home and not watching us on YouTube, which you should definitely subscribe. Even if you're an audio listener, you should definitely subscribe to the channel to help us out.
Absolutely.
If Arkansas is going to spend, like certainly possible, right? They have a very interesting like front office ideas going on there right now. We'll see if those prove to be like crazy like a fox or just crazy. We'll have to see. Arkansas, just like, look, if they actually spend, then they're much higher on this list. The way I wrote this was assuming current spending level. Like Arkansas right now does not spend. They're definitely bottom 2 or 3 SEC payroll for the roster.
And for those want a little bit of context, Bud, I believe that you were given this list.
Somebody gave me this list, said rank all these jobs. I did not create this list of just
not that you're grabbing some jobs that aren't open yet. You're grabbing some jobs that could
like
be.
We definitely think Florida's open, right? Like behind the scenes, Florida's open.
Yes. I think Auburn might be careening towards that level. We'll see.
Yeah, if I had to bet on it, I would bet that Auburn does open.
I would bet Wisconsin.
Although I might, just what they've spent on this roster, what could happen if you have a coaching change in terms of talent flight. I liked everything I saw from this roster except quarterback. I might give them one more chance to just throw some big money at a QB and get it right.
We were talking about the sliding doors and the small margins. If Drew Aller scores a touchdown against UCLA, maybe James Franklin has a job. And if they decide that Jackson Arnold did cross the goal line,
right?
I mean, is Auburn not opening up? That's
and they're making $50 million decisions off those 1 or 2 plays, which is nuts.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Are y'all surprised Wisconsin is not open? Or do you think they're just going to let Ohio State and Oregon just run them out of town?
There's a part of me that wonders if it's not just the coach that'll be going. So
that makes sense.
Interim everything, Barry Alvarez.
Yeah,
president, athletic.
Barry might be running stuff again here in a few weeks for a while.
Yeah.
Because from a PR perspective, that's a pretty big game. You're going to have to trot Luke Fickell out there for interviews if you haven't fired him yet. It would make more sense to have the AD, if the AD is not getting fired too, to come out there and say, look, man, our process in hiring this guy was sound. He's the first coach to take a G5 team to the playoff. He sent multiple guys to the pros, from Cincinnati. I don't think there was anything wrong with our process. It just didn't work. We're still very committed to playing top-level football here at Wisconsin. We know the challenge is harder than it's ever been. because the Big Ten West is gone, and now we have a much harder schedule. And also, for some reason, I guess I might be part of the reason we're playing like non-conference games against the Irish and the Crimson Tide. But we still want to play. I don't know. I would try to put that message out there. Hey, we still believe in this program, but to Tom may just have it nailed here. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, we, of course, will keep you up to date with all the latest on the carousel as it continues to spin, but we do have business at hand here.